right. I have something. Uh, I think it's pretty cool to share tonight. It's a poem that I read at the Denver Art Museum in one of their displays of indigenous cultures here in Colorado, and there was also an exhibition of some of the indigenous artworks from uh, up in Alaska. So it was a wonderful time. And I've done a lot of reflection about seeing all of that art and reading this poem in particular that I'm going to share. And my concern for us as a people, as a modern people, and my concern stems from this that we don't touch anything that helps bring us to center. Now, what does that mean? What I mean by that, well, it's best shown by this. I guess it was probably about 15 years ago. It was a Facebook quote, and it was a young man. He was 16 years old, and he wrote this thing on his Facebook page where he said, "I just found out that milk comes from a cow. I'm never going to drink that stuff again." I thought to myself, now, what kind of person becomes 16 years old without realizing that milk comes from a cow? And I began thinking about that. I was like, well, an American does that, just like an American who doesn't realize that hamburgers come from cows and that, because we do. It's not an ashamed, a shameful level of ignorance. It's just that we live in a culture that is completely disjointed, disconnected with the earth that it lives on, right? We live in these little, you know, dystopian developments, out in the prairie. There's all this open space, and yet these developments are all these little walled, small yards, no community space developments, one after the other, just bonk, 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 all the way down. So we have this completely artificial environment that we live. We cover over the prairie and its native grasses with our lawns. We put in our sidewalks. Everything is built and changed to meet our expectations. There's no harmony with what is, with what was. There's no compromising and living together with the world around us. So we have this artificial development that we live in this house that has an artificial environment in it where the thermostat's always set right, the music is always playing right, the light levels are always right, my chair is comfortable, my carpet is new, everything's all nice and taken care of. And then I get up in the morning and I go out into in the garage and I get into my car, which is another totally artificial environment. Turned on my radio, set my temperature, clear my windows, adjust my seat. And then I drive to work, another totally artificial environment of cubicles and temperatures and, comfortable desk chairs and all of those kinds of things. We do our work for the day. We get back in that artificial car, get swallowed up by our garage and back in our artificial home for the weekend, and then for our entertainment, we go to the movies, another artificial environment, we go bike riding, whatever we do, everything is tailored, controlled, and adjusted to be comfortable for you. And how are we ever going to know who we are, completely surrounded in an artificial environment that's feeding us whatever we want? And I can't help but think this is becoming an issue for us because I think that we as a country are losing our mind. We're completely losing our groundedness. And, I really want us to see us come back together, to be human again. And I think that we have to get out of our artificial environments and we have some work to do. And this poem says it perfectly. This poem is by Joy Harjo. She's a Muskogee Nation Native American. She's a three-time poet laureate for the United States, the 23rd poet laureate. And this is her poem to us, and I think it's so beautiful. And also, as a side note, this also talks about the oneness of all religions, because this poem could have been written by a Vedantist, 4,000 years ago, or it could have been written today by Joy Harjo in her Native American traditions. It's like truth is truth wherever you find it. Poem is called Remember. Remember the earth whose skin you are. Red earth, black earth, yellow earth, white earth, brown earth. We are earth. Remember the plants, the trees, animal life, who all have their tribes, their families, their histories too. Talk to them, listen to them. They are alive poems. Remember the wind. Remember her voice. She knows the origin of this universe. Remember you are all people, and all people are you. Remember, you are this universe, and this universe is you. Remember, all is in motion, is growing, is you. Remember, language comes from this. Remember the dance that language is, that life is. Remember.